In Lagos, secrets float like the thick, humid air, slipping past guarded gates and whispering through the bustling streets. The high society women, especially those who married into wealth and power, were as carefully crafted as the sprawling city itself, where glass towers overlook crowded streets below. Among them, 3 women ruled, their reputations pristine, their influence ironclad. They were called the senator's wives, celebrated for their charity and grace, though those who really knew Lagos knew their reputations marked something darker. My name is Amina. 4 months ago, my life changed when my younger brother Femi vanished. Femi, at 24, was no child. He was spirited, clever, with a confidence that often landed him in trouble. We came from Ajigana, where life was hard but simple, honest. Femi's world had taken a sharp turn when he became involved with Funk Oleyemi, wife of one of Lagos's most powerful senators. The whispers had said it all. Funk, known for her interest in younger men, had her sights on him. But those whispers grew louder after Femi disappeared. Desperation drove me here. I left the army with my head held high, and now I was here, disguised as a simple job seeker named Amina. I planned to use every skill I'd honed in military intelligence to peel back the layers of Funk's world and find the truth about Femi's fate. The grand entrance of Funk's mansion greeted me like a fortress, its gates flanked by security guards who looked me over with suspicion as I approached. Everything about the place was made to impress, from the carefully pruned palm trees to the imported statues lining the pathway. Inside, marble floors stretched out, the echo of my footsteps swallowed by the thick silence. This was not Ajigana, this was Banana Island, where Lagos's 1% lived lives untouched by the city's harsh realities. I was led into the parlor, a space so vast and grand it made my eyes linger on every piece of art, every glimmer of gold and polished wood. Funk sat on a velvet couch, her hair perfectly styled, eyes dark and sharp. In her hands, she held a glass of freshly squeezed orange juice. Her gaze met mine with an intensity that made me feel like I was already under a spotlight. "So, Amina," she said, her voice smooth but edged with steel. "You're the new girl?" "Yes, Ma," I replied, lowering my gaze, practicing the air of quiet humility I'd rehearsed. Her lips twisted into a faint smile, one that didn't reach her eyes. "I need someone who can be trusted. Discretion is everything in this household." She watched me carefully, her words laced with an unspoken threat. "You understand?" "Yes, Ma. I understand." I kept my voice steady, though my heart beat wildly. I couldn't afford to let anything slip. Funk handed me a thick schedule, a list detailing her entire day, where she took breakfast, how she liked her tea, the shops in Lekki she frequented, her visits to friends in Ikoyi. I glanced over the neat handwriting and nodded, as though her daily habits were all I was interested in. But every detail felt like a small key to a much bigger puzzle. "First task," she said, her voice snapping me out of my thoughts. "Prepare my outfit for tonight's gala. The senator's friends will be there, and I want everything in place." I nodded, slipping out of the parlor with the schedule in hand. As I made my way to her sprawling walk-in closet, footsteps echoed behind me. I turned, and there, standing in the hallway, was a young man around Femi's age. He was tall, with a certain air that made him seem out of place here, a restlessness, perhaps, or something more secretive. Our eyes met for a brief moment. There was something in his gaze, something that made me stop, a silent connection, or maybe a warning. He was dressed casually, though I could see a faint hint of tension in his face, as though he was used to hiding behind a practiced calm. I later learned his name was Depo, Funk's only son. He turned without a word, slipping into one of the rooms down the hallway, leaving me there in silence. I felt a shiver run down my spine, though I couldn't place why. Depo's presence felt like a thread in this tangled world, something that seemed minor yet held weight I couldn't ignore. The rest of the evening passed in a blur of preparations, with me arranging Funk's clothes, her jewelry, ensuring her shoes gleamed. I performed every task with an eye for detail, studying the polished marble, the crystal chandeliers, the silent, watchful eyes of the staff who moved through the hallways like shadows. Every piece of our life felt staged, calculated, like a mask hiding something none of us were meant to see. When Funk finally departed for her event, I watched her from the doorway, feeling a strange mix of relief and anticipation. As she left, she placed her phone on the table without a thought. It buzzed, lighting up the room with a message from an unknown number. I leaned closer, my heart pounding as I read the words on the screen. The new girl, make sure she doesn't ask too many questions.